We're ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is August the 14th, 2018. It is 5:31. I now call this regular meeting of San Juan Economic Development Corporation to order. First item on our agenda is our roll call. I'll begin with my right. We'll go down the line.
Rubén Arjona, City Manager.
Jesse Zambrano, attorney.
Real Executive Director.
Cynthia Gutierrez, Secretary of the Board.
Arturo Guajardo Jr., President.
Mayor Mario Garza, Assistant Secretary.
Pedro Contreras, Board Member.
Everyone. Our next item on the agenda is public comments. Do we have anybody registered for public comments today? Yes, sir. Can you? Okay, well, that's okay. Can
My name
you
is Rick
identify
Ramirez.
yourself?
Rick Ramirez.
Yes, sir, Mr. Ramirez.
My address today is for the EDC to stop doing incentives or
That wants to address the board under public comments? If not, we'll move on to our next item. It is our financial report. Mr. Director.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Also, let the record show that Mr. Israel Garza should be showing up here shortly. On the financial report, I have all that information. I've included the latest financial report that we have, and we will discuss that further on budget on item number 1.
Okay, so is that all you have for now?
Right.
Okay, then we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our director's report. Back to you.
Thank you. Well, we've had a busy past 2 weeks here in the Economic Development Corporation. We have submitted financial reports that are due to the State Comptroller's Office. We submitted the 2016 and 2017 reports, and we should be looking at submitting the 2018 here fairly soon. So we're getting all that in order. Number 2, we've been continuing our meetings with real estate brokers and landowners, developers, and we are working on a inventory of the entire city's property, essentially, to basically have an inventory of what we have and how we can go about marketing those properties and making deals. Number 3, I've included an office inventory. We've completed our inventory for the office technology. We've divided it into 2, the technology side and the fixed asset side. And I made those available to you in the packet. We've also, we had basically two offices, and we've reduced it down to about half an office. So now we have an extra office at the EDC, whereas it was being used as storage. So
Mentioned something you wanted to surplus some of those items. Are you still going to follow through with that?
I'd like to, yes, that's actually a agenda item.
Okay.
Yeah, in doing all this cleaning, we've found that we've had a lot of excess inventory. Number 4, we will be hosting a workshop for businesses seeking funding opportunities on August 28th. I included the flyer, and I'll go ahead and email that to you all as well. So if anyone is interested, this is open to the public. Finding opportunities for funding their business, their small business. We will be hosting that at the San Juan EDC on August 28th from 9 to 11 a.m. I gave a presentation to the PSJA New Teacher Luncheon last week. It was a good event. All the cities were on the Tri-City cities were there, and they all had a representative. This is an annual thing where they invite the EDC directors to come out and welcome the new teachers to the city, and so I did that. I've been working with the.
By the way, I got some
Yes.
positive feedback on your speech there. They said you did a good job.
Oh, yeah?
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. We have I've been working with the city with a comprehensive master plan, so I've been attending those meetings. Also, this Friday, I will be speaking to the career and technology teachers from Vanguard High School. They will be holding a training at Lexus, and they want me to talk about the EDC, careers, job potential, education, and the importance of job training. Number 8, with the demands of the director position, such as speaking and meetings, there is a foreseeable need for a project specialist to assist with business recruitment and other duties. If I've noticed that in the past, when the EDC has been very successful, we've had a team of professionals there. So I will be exploring that further as far as maybe potentially looking into having another employee in the EDC, and I'm not asking for any action or anything, but that's something that I can foresee, as I'm saying, they're foreseeing that to be really effective at this time, that we want to probably have a team in there that.
I discussed in the past maybe doing a partnership with UTRGV and having an intern from the business and entrepreneurship college. Remember, maybe that's something you can look into.
Okay.
Because they do their internship, they can do a semester or two, and in addition to maybe getting somebody.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the director's report, and that's my phone. Sorry. That's the director's report, Mr.
Any comments, concerns, questions for our director? The only question I would have for you, Mr. Villarreal, is you said you're going to host a workshop for businesses seeking funding opportunities.
Yes.
Are you going to have someone help you present there?
Yes.
Or is it going to be you?
I'm sorry. That's actually through the Lift Fund, and they will be they'll be doing. We're just supplying the facility there at our EDC, but they're going to host it and all that, and that's open to the public. So I invite
Who's that again? You
The-
said the LIFT?
Lift Fund.
Can you elaborate what that is, that acronym stands for? Do you know?
I don't know what the acronym stands for. I'm sorry, but it's they help. They're very flexible on helping small businesses that may not have the credit, or they may. They're very flexible. It's kind of like a organization that helps with businesses that may not really qualify for a bank loan, but the Lift Fund can help them out.
And do you know by any chance the percentage, or as far as the interest rate on something like that? Do they have like a standard number? You know, are we looking like at a 50% or 2% or?
I don't know if I don't have an exact figure. I hope it's not a 50% or anything like that, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why.
it's just another opportunity. If it is a high percentage like that, then you want to look at something like that as kind of a last opportunity.
And
But-
Mr. Redia, the reason why I say that, because that's probably going to be the first question, you know, when a potential investor, someone that wants to come in and do business, they're going to want to know what the APR is in reference to, you know? But if
Absolutely,
you can get that information later down the road, that'd be good.
I will. And that's the Lift Fund, though. I will tell you that they do have a history of a successful history of helping out businesses. So, but I'll get you those numbers, though. And
Mr. President, I have a question for Mr. Villarreal. Mr. Villarreal, this seems to, as I'm reading this is the first time I hear about this LIFT Fund and the RGV Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So they're the ones who are putting this event together. They contacted you, or you contacted them?
they contacted me.
Okay.
I am familiar with the Lift Fund, though. That's one of the options that we give to new businesses coming to us. The Lift Fund is one of the things. They contacted us, and I think it's a good opportunity for the city of San Juan, any new business owners. We want to invite them. I'd like to host more of these, not just with the Lift Fund, but with other entities that provide assistance for small businesses in the future.
That's where my question was heading towards. How are we reaching out to our local small businesses or anyone in particular who may be interested in a seminar or workshop as such? What is our strategy to reach out to them?
Well, we're currently developing a strategy for that. Right now, it's essentially an Excel sheet with business name and an email address, and we'll blast that out. It's not a very big list at the time, but that's something that we definitely are working on and want to. I mean, ideally, you want to have inventory of every business, the owner, the number, and email address, where you can have a network like that. So that's something that we're definitely working on. But this is the start. This is the beginning of that.
I believe this is the first time, at least I've heard, that this is taking place here in San Juan. I'm pretty sure previously it's been between the Lift Fund and the RGV Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. They've held these kind of workshops elsewhere, other cities? So that's their trend? They jump from cities to help out?
Yeah, yes, they do. I don't think that they're necessarily married to the Lift Fund. I think that that just may be one of their partners that they like to reach out and they chose us, and so I accepted the opportunity.
Echoing what Mr. Contreras is saying, whatever you can do to get the word out, absolutely, the more the merrier.
And that's why it's open to the public. I'm extending it here, and we're going to be pushing it.
Anything else on the director's report? Then we'll move on to our next item, which are our action items on our agenda. And the first one is discussion, consideration, and possible action, if any, on budget adjustments and budget amendments for 2017-2018 San Juan EDC budget.
Thank you, Mr. President. On number one, I'd like to recommend that at this time we go ahead and not take any action or table the budget amendment, but we do have the table open for the discussion and consideration and possible action on any for the budget adjustment. And I can give you guys some details on that. We had some slight overages in our operating budget, and as being new, one of the first things I wanted to look at was the budget and how we can and I wanted to see where we were at, and so I noticed that there was some minor overages on there, and so I met with the finance director and the city manager and the attorney as well, and we kind of hashed this out. And what we did is there was the majority of the adjusting came from a vehicle that EDC was going to purchase a while back, and there was some funds in there. We moved them over, and that got us into the black. And we also put in some cushion to allow us to operate till the end of the fiscal cycle. So with this adjustment, we are good until the end of the fiscal cycle. So.
If I hear you correctly, this was money that was set aside to potentially buy a vehicle, but the decision was made not to purchase a vehicle. So you use that money to cover other line items that were
That's correct.
falling short. Okay.
And Mr. President, I want to point out that in prior meetings, we've had we had some discussion and many opinions, should I say, in reference to these 20,000 and where and how best be used. If I'm not mistaken, and correct me, guys, if I'm wrong here, but some of that money, obviously, the commission decided not to move it towards purchasing the vehicle, but at the same time, assisting with some city events financially. I just want to point out, obviously, if we used it to balance out our budget, let's not count on that. Well, we can't anymore, so wanted to point that out. Let's not get confused later down the line and say, hey, what about those 20,000?
It won't be there anymore.
It's not there.
It won't be there anymore. We're clear on that, right?
Yes, we had those discussions today with the city manager and the finance director. He did bring that up, but as far as that, we're okay. We still have some money in our promotional account, and we have enough money with this adjustment to operate till the end of the fiscal year, and we'll be in the black and we'll end ahead, and so.
Further discussion? If
Yes,
not,
Mr. President, the only one thing I want to make sure is that whenever we do review the budget and finalize it, let's do our best to get it approved as soon as possible. I believe this one last year kind of lingered on for a while, and I'm not too sure if it ever did get approved or not, but I'm hoping it did.
Yes, Mr. Contreras, we're actually on a good timeline right now. If we do this adjustment and then perhaps in 2 weeks, we're shooting for 2 weeks to do the budget amendment, come back with the budget amendment, then that will go to the city, and then we'll begin, we still have to have a workshop, and then we'll approve our budget, and then the city has to approve it. So all that between now and the end of September, the end of September is going to be right around the corner. So we're actually right now on a good timeline, so long as everything goes as planned.
Well, at this point, if I'm hearing you correctly, Mr. Villarreal, you're asking for action on the budget adjustment, but no action on the budget amendment.
Correct. We want to dig a little deeper in there, make sure all our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted before we bring that to you. We're probably okay to approve it right now, but we just want to double check and make sure, and we'll bring that back.
Wouldn't it be best just to table the actual item and just bring it back on the next meeting? To, once you iron out the issues?
Would it affect you if we don't take action on the adjustment today?
I don't think it will affect us.
If you
Yeah,
would've
you can
listed
just
them
table it.
Mr. Sembrano, can you?
You can just table it if, I mean, if
Motion
it
to
doesn't
table
affect
item number 1.
operation, bring it back for the next meeting.
Yeah, definitely. That's,
We can do that. Unless you feel that you need to act on it now, Rene, but I mean,
I mean, it's your recommendation, Mr.
Um,
Reyes, so.
Excuse me? Well, I had wanted the adjustment, to be honest, because one of those items that wasn't, that was low on the was travel,
Okay, then that's fine. Go ahead.
and we've got that coming up on the agenda, so I kind of wanted to clear that out.
Okay, so with that said, you're asking for action to approve the budget adjustment and take no action on the budget amendment,
Correct.
right?
Yes, table the amendment.
Table the amendment. Okay. We've got a motion to table the budget amendment. I got a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's tabled on the budget amendment. How about on the budget adjustment? Can we take it separately even though it's on the same item,
yes,
Counselor?
you can.
Motion to approve.
Okay. We've got
Second.
a motion and a second to approve the budget adjustment as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, possible action, if any, on consulting services contract with Hollis Rutledge and Associates. I did see that Mr. Hollis Rutledge is in the audience. Would you like to address the board, Mr. Rutledge?
Disseminate that I could give you, but first of all, I want to tell you that I'm really honored to work for you all. It's been enjoyable. It's been challenging, but I think I see that there's a tremendous potential in the horizon for this community, beyond a reasonable doubt. I think a lot of the activities that we've talked about and generated over the last year, or less than a year, have been extraordinary. And I think you all have a written report that's self-explanatory. And I'm hoping that some of the first item on that report, of course, is vague for obvious reasons that you probably already know about. But I'm very pleased to report to you that there's a lot of fine things that are coming down the pike that we are exploring, that we're already working on, and then hopefully that would be a big, huge asset for the taxpayers and the community as a whole here in San Juan. And I'm open for any comments at this time that you might have for me, if I can answer them.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Rutledge? His contract is up. When did it expire? Has it expired already?
We're actually right on time with that. The contract is well, we're right on time, being that the new contract starts on August 1st. So he's been paid up until the last month, and then we would,
The contract terms is the same as it was last year?
yes, sir.
Nothing has changed. Everything is identical.
You're just gonna bring us more money this year, right?
Well, that's the idea. That's the idea.
Okay.
That's the idea.
I will say that since I came on, Mr. Rutledge and Mr. Frank San Martin.
Oh, yeah, Frank, my associate, is right here.
They've been
He's
very,
really one of the, does the groundwork. I just do the bird dogging in Washington and and Austin.
they've both been very accessible. Frank has been answering his cell phone. You know, if he's in a conference or something, he's excused himself and taken our phone calls because we've really needed him during this financial budgeting time. And so, with that being said, I know that we have a lot of projects coming down the pipeline, as he said, and right now is a pretty crucial time that we need the extra manpower that Rutledge and Associates can provide us with, the connections and things like that, and with grants and all that. So I would recommend that we go ahead and renew the contract. If there's any questions.
Concerns, comments?
No, just to elaborate on what Mr. Rayal mentioned, the most important thing is monitoring the grants. That is very key. And I know that your firm's done an excellent job as far as on the city part. And, you know, when it comes to federal dollars, you know, we just got to make sure that, you know, you dot your I's and cross your T's, because if not, you know, we're in trouble. And you've kept up to par on all that. So I appreciate the work you do.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mayor.
Rutledge, here
Thank-
on the EDC and at the city as well.
Thank you so much, and you're right. One thing is to write a successful grant, and the most important, of course, is to administer it appropriately according to federal law, regulations, and audit findings. So that at the end of the day, when we go back to the sources that we obviously are going to go back to, some of which are evident in the discussions we've had, I can say without hesitation that we have a tremendous track record with our federal and state representatives, because they know that not only do we merit some of these projects, but we know how to administer those dollars without any audit findings at the end of the day.
Mr. President, I'd like to add, experience speaks for itself. Mr. Rutledge and his company have proven themselves, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract.
We got a motion to approve the contract. as
Second.
Presented, and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Rutledge.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you
Look
so
forward to
much,
continuing
and
working
look
with
forward
you.
in working with Renee and all of you.
I know
I
we're
know.
in a legislative year, so you're gonna be pretty active up there as well.
Well,
Bring back that
that's,
leverage
yes,
for us,
yeah,
Amongst other things.
about 35 years of it, but I thoroughly have enjoyed it. And I might add, I have a very close sentiment to this community, because some years ago, the leadership of this community honored my mother, and the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court honored my mother in establishing the Villa de San Juanita Rutledge housing development here in San Juan, and then you all named a street after her, and it's just dear to my heart, and I'll never forget that. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
For the record, Commissioner Lenny Sanchez has now joined us. Thank you for joining us, Commissioner. Yes, sir. Next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, possible action, if any, on consulting agreement with Cruz Hogan Engineering.
Missed
We
one.
we missed number
Oh,
3.
did I? I'm sorry. Discussion, consideration, possible action, if any, to authorize the San Juan EDC Executive Director to dispose and/or transfer salvage surplus property.
Thank you. Yes, as I mentioned before, that we are going through the process of going through our inventory, cleaning out our offices. We've come across some items, and we included that on the in your packets, as well as we put a value to them. And those items There's some things in there such as some older phones that are still usable, some desktop computers, some monitors, some extension cords, quite a few extension cords, good ones. Other items such as a lot of office equipment, chairs, and the EDC, as we've kind of accumulated these things over the years, we're looking to get rid of them basically. So I understand the process. There's a process for that. And in the past, I think the EDC has taken it to the storage room, if I'm correct. And from there, that's how the process, we take it off our inventory, salvage it or what. And so I'm just looking for a direction as far as what to do with these excess items. I mean, they're pretty good, but I suppose we'd go through the normal process and then take it from there. But
The city has a process in place, right?
right, I would imagine. I'm not that
Manuals.
familiar with the process,
And
but
at this point in time, you're just asking for the authority to authorize you to go through the process and do whatever you deem is necessary. correct?
exactly. And some of these items may be better suited in some of the other departments. You know, we've got some computers that are still pretty good, some chairs. And so whatever the process is, I'd like to have the authority to go through that process and dispose of these items properly.
Questions, comments?
No.
Board?
Thank you for cleaning up our office. Thank you, thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
you're welcome.
I'll entertain a motion to authorize Mr.
So moved.
Villarreal. Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, possible action, if any, on consulting agreement with Cruz Hogan Engineering.
Yes, the situation has already arisen where, for instance, with the grant work and things of that nature, especially the EDA grant, where it's on the city or the EDC to get cost estimates, engineering cost estimates, if you want to cover a canal or you want to pave a street. It's on the EDC, not the consulting firm, to come up with those cost estimates. And so the EDC is in a situation right now where we need a engineer to be able to call on for these sorts of tasks, such as cost estimates and other types of engineering things that may arise. But without somebody who we can have, that we can call on, we have no way to get these services provided for us. And so one of the consulting, Cruz Hogan Engineering, has a good relationship with the city of San Juan, has experience. They pretty much know the city of San Juan like the back of their hand. And so I am looking to go into possible action with a consulting agreement with Cruz Hogan.
But at
That's-
this point in time, there's no dollar figure attached to it, or you just want to have them as the
Well-
engineer of record, and then maybe set a cap on the type of service that they're going to be providing, or?
Yes, at this time, if the board would like to cap it, it's small work. I mean, you can cap it at like $500, and you can say that if we don't use him for that month, we don't pay him. But it's small jobs where
So no retainer fee or anything like that?
it wouldn't
On a per-job basis?
job.
on a per job basis.
Okay.
Right.
You think we're okay with that, Mr.
I think that
Zambrano?
works, yeah. From a transparency standpoint, we just go and any project that he does, he sends us an invoice. And if the board authorizes Mr. Villarreal to up to a certain amount, then those invoices get paid, and then that's it. If he doesn't do any work for that month, he doesn't get paid.
Good. Then I'd entertain a motion to approve this
So moved.
consulting agreement.
Termo?
Got a motion
Second?
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Do we want to vote on the cap?
If you want to specify it in your motion or clarify your motion that it's got a $500 cap per month.
You don't have to set the amount, but we need to say that it's not, so that it's in writing,
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, well,
that how it's
Well, I thought that it was discussed, but if,
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
So I think we're pretty
I
clear.
thought it was
on-
discussed that, it would be up to $500.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was on the, we put it on the record.
So
You're
we're
right.
clear on this.
So we should
Okay.
do that. Yes.
Next item on the agenda, number 5, discussion, consideration, possible action, if any, to authorize a San Juan EDC Executive Director and/or Board Member to attend Retail Live Austin 2018 in Austin, Texas.
Yes, this is a it's kind of like the big one that they have in Vegas, but this is on a smaller scale and it's a little more localized. In Austin, it's on August 30th, which is a Thursday from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. And in your packets, I've said there's going to be businesses there such as Baskin Robbins, Arby's, Aqua Tots, Cons Electronics, and a whole host of others. And part of what we want to do at these events is start creating those relationships, so that way as the next event comes in, you've already established that communication with these developers and businesses. So I'm looking to invite the board, if there's anybody who would like to attend, first of all, and authorize me to attend this so we can start getting our San Juan EDC name out there and let them know, you know, hey, we're here. We've got plenty of land available.
I'm actually in Austin on that day. I just looked at my calendar. I'll be there for TAC Legislative Conference.
There you
So I'll
go.
already be there. Maybe I'll go by there and see you. I don't know if any other board member is interested, or we want to authorize Mr. Rene Villarreal to attend this one-day event.
And there is money in the adjusted budget for this.
Well, I don't think that they need to decide whether they want to go to.
No, you don't need to decide right now, but
At this point in
but
time,
but
it's-
but the invitation is there.
I definitely would like for him to attend.
Very good.
Right, Mr.
Okay.
Then,
I make a motion for Mr. Villarreal to attend the Austin trip.
okay, I've got a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, possible action, if any, for Noche de Paz event and possible donation.
Yes, Mr. President, last year, the San Juan EDC made a donation to the Noche de Paz event, and I'm passing out the, it was in the amount of, last year we donated $40,000. Right, it was 40,000, and
More than that?
48, 49? It was supposed to be 60, but they only give us.
We didn't want to
We
give
give you 10,000, right?
9,500. Sorry, but the check was for 40,000. We did write a check last year for 40,000 for Noche de Paz, and so the discussion, the item is to discuss if the board would like to consider a possible donation for this year. Well, what I would recommend that we set this aside for our you can come up with a dollar amount now, or we can do this for our next budget cycle, which is coming up, and we can budget for it then.
Now we know that it's coming and start thinking about it and put it on our budget, on our upcoming budget, whatever we're thinking.
Could do that.
I think that'll be the best bet. Now that we know that it's coming up, be more, more money. But that'll be definitely on the next budget workshop that he may be having with you guys.
And but I mean, when does the city, is there a deadline on the city's side when they would need, if any, money by?
Well, as a matter of fact, we did it, Leroy, what is that that you call the prepaid advance for just to the band so that we can lock them in?
Yes, we locked up the bands and we paid approximately 13,000 just to
Deposit?
deposit.
So if, what we can do is budget it for the next fiscal year, but knowing that the EDC is gonna be helping us out, with that amount. The more the merrier.
I guess by when you prepare your budget for next
The
year?
budget will be approved on October 1st.
First.
October the 1st.
Yeah, it has to
We
be.
have another meeting on August 28th.
Right.
scheduled for the EDC.
Right.
So we could either take action right now on a dollar figure, or not take action on a dollar figure and give us time to keep thinking about it and have, go through budget workshops.
And I'll probably say that that's probably the recommendation. At that time of doing the budget workshop, determine then how much money it'll be coming over to the city as a sponsor.
Action. Right? Craig?
No,
we-
it'll be tabled.
We table it and bring it back?
Well, if we table it, it would have to be next, the next meeting.
Yeah, it's
We
gotta
take
be
no
the
action
next
on it,
meeting
it's
if you
gonna be-
table
Take
it.
no action? Whatever you want to do.
No action.
Everybody in agreement? We've got a motion to take no action on this?
I agree with that. Just a quick discussion here. Whatever money we are gonna decide to assist with, make sure you include what other businesses or, because I know this has been a long, ongoing discussion in reference to, okay, this particular line item can be used for this particular sponsorship, this particular line item, well, because it's worded that way, could only be for events, so I want to see if we're gonna, let's say 40,000, agree on that, it's 40,000 under what line item and what's gonna be the balance, and if we do have a balance in that line item, what can we use it for? That's what I'm requesting.
Absolutely.
Just for the record.
Yes, sir.
Just for the record, you can either table or take no action. If you take no action, it's just gonna have to be a new item. If you bring it back to the board for consideration, it's gonna have to be brought to the board. If you just table it, then we can address it at the next meeting. But, so, either way,
Continue to stay on the table for as long as we want.
That is
So
correct.
I think it works.
yes.
So, at this point in time, I've got a motion to take no action. I don't have a second yet, or do you?
Second.
We don't have to make an action, right? If we,
We wouldn't have to take
I mean, we'd have to take a motion?
Can always,
Do we no action?
you can always come back, right, and put it in
Yeah,
the
always come
agenda
back.
again, right?
It's just a no action, so,
Okay.
Dies out.
yeah, if nobody's making a motion to approve
So we
this
can bring it
item,
back
then.
as
Mr. Sombrano,
There's no action?
yeah, Mr. Villar, let me just make sure I understood, Mr. Sombrano. What you're saying, boss, is that no action gives you the option of not bringing it back. A table does not give you the option of bringing it back. It will come back, just because you tabled it. And the no action will give you the option not to bring it back
Not
if
to
you
bring
choose.
it back, but if there is another board member that says, they want it back on there, then you can also put it back on there.
Put it back.
But that option doesn't stand if you just table it.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
No action? We're not going to take any action. Okay, we'll move on to our next item. Next item is discussion, consideration, possible action, if any, on sponsoring or sponsorship for San Juan Nursing Home Gala.
Yes, the San Juan Nursing Home holds an annual gala, and in your packets on number 7, we put in a list of all the donations that the EDC has previously given this fiscal year. So if you'd like to see that. But the San Juan Nursing Home has a gala, and they have different levels. They have a 500, well, you can come up with your own. You can donate $1, $5, $10, $15, $100. But to be a sower, it's $500. Good Samaritans, $1,500. Saint Francis is a $2,000 donation, and the Virgen de San Juan is a $5,500 sponsorship. And they include tickets to the gala as what you get out of it. And of course, also giving to the San Juan Nursing Home. The donation goes for operational type of expenses to help them out with that. So
How much is the donation for? Or is it just?
they have an option where you can just donate any amount, and then they also have the levels, which is 500, 1,500, 2,000, and 5,500. To date, the EDC has, to date, the EDC I see here has given a total of, am I here, 35,000? That's our balance. But to date, we've given out 4,000.
$2018?
We're healthy in that
Right.
line item, correct?
Excuse me?
We're healthy in that budget part.
Oh, yes, we're healthy in that for budget-wise. It's just a matter of, I'm asking the board if they want to donate, and if so,
Have we given in the past?
to
them?
to them.
Gala?
I believe we have at some point.
How much?
To the gala, have we given to, in the history? Yeah, we have given to the gala.
Not sure if it's 500 or 1,000 that we've been given in the past years, but it's around those numbers.
I know there, if you do get, with the 500, you get 5 complimentary tickets.
Do you recall how much we've given in the past? 1,500.
Yeah, because they gave you 10 tickets. They gave you a table, didn't they? Yeah, so right here, yeah. It's about 1,500, it's 1,500, I think.
You say you thought it was 500.
What, was it 500? I thought it was. We're close. I got the 1 in front of the 5, all right?
He doubts it was 1,500.
He would say that.
What does the board, what are the wishes of the board?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, 15? I make a motion to go ahead and,
Before you motion, I have a question. Do they, are we allowed to promote the EDC? Are we allowed to place any of our logos or?
All sponsors.
With the, I didn't finish
Yes,
reading it. Yeah.
It also says all sponsors will receive marketing benefits through their event program, the diocese newspaper, their website, and the newsletter.
well, I stick to the motion and for $1,500 in reference to the San Juan Nursing Home Gala.
Thank you.
There's been a second?
Got a motion and a second for a donation of $1,500 to the San Juan
I just wanted to say, we should wait for the amount. He just wanted to prove, because, to check how much we've given in the past. I know we're healthy, I just want to know how much it's given in the past.
I think that in the past, from my experience of the EDC, I know they said 1,500 and you heard 500. I think over the history of the EDC, they've probably given 500 at one point, and they've probably given 1,500 at another point. And I think maybe even some years they haven't given at all, when the EDC might have been without.
Got a motion and a second for $1,500. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, possible action, if any, on sponsorship for legislative report card luncheon.
Yes, thank you. This is a event. This is also an annual event. This is an event where they, this is open to the public from my understanding, by the way, but this event is going to have some people who will be attending will be Senator Chuy Hinojosa, Senator Eddie Lucio, Terry Canales, Oscar Longoria, Bobby Guerra, Ryan Guillen, Rene Olivera, and other notable politicians that represent the area. And it's a luncheon on August 16th. As you know, the EDC is, at this time, we're trying to get our name out there. We have some big projects coming up. I think it's pretty important for us to be getting ourselves out there, getting our some of our board members to be getting out there and rubbing shoulders with some of these guys and girls. So as you see, there's a $500, $1,000, $2,000, and $3,000. On the $1,000 one, that's where we would get a table, and then we'll have one of these, it might be one of these legislators at our table with us. I think personally it's a good event. I think it will help the EDC to get our name out there and build those relationships with the politicians.
This is the first of its kind?
This is the first of its kind?
Yeah. Ever? Have we ever participated in
as far as I know, the EDC's never participated.
Okay.
Although I think that this is a,
These luncheons, there's quite a few of these going on. I see these a lot, especially
Right.
during the legislative cycle. I've participated in many of them, and there's really no difference in buying a ticket or getting a table. I mean, you can go and show up and get the same that you would for $50, or what is it, $30? Because, I mean, who would this money be going to anyway?
I think the money is mainly for the, it's for to help the people who are hosting this is the Rio Grande Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I believe any excess money that they may have will probably go to that organization.
Rub elbows.
Okay, well, you know, there'll be several of these, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I already heard about another one coming
Yeah,
up,
there'll
so
be several
there
of
are.
these. So, whatever the wishes of the board are, that's what I've got to say about that.
No action. We don't have to.
$50?
$50 individual.
$50 individual?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you like to go?
You
Yeah.
want to take somebody with you, or you want to go by yourself?
I'm all right, too.
And
Look at that big old smile from Martha.
Yeah, they Martha, yeah.
maybe a staff member would be, would,
Okay, vayan nails those for $100, yeah.
That's fine.
okay.
Got a motion to
Okay.
authorize
Yes.
him and a staff member to go? Got a motion by Mr.
Second.
Guajardo,
Second.
second by Commissioner Sanchez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is discussion consideration of sponsorship/donations requests.
Yes, this was on the agenda just to give an opportunity on how to address some of these sponsorship requests in the future. I guess what I'm saying on this one is if the board would like to have some sort of checklist or nominal amount or limit that they would like to do, and this is not an action item, so it's just kind of a discussion. What I can do is take your suggestions and then provide you with something at the next meeting, such as an application or a like I said, a checklist or you know, what is something that says what our return on investment may be for these types of what kind of exposure the EDC may be getting. So I mean, it's just a discussion item. If anybody has any comments on that.
We have discussed using standard application forms, right, for whatever type of request they're coming to the EDC for. So yes, I'd ask you to revisit that, look at the applications, the type, whether it's for a grant or a donation or for a promotional item or for whatever it is. And then you tell the board, look, this is how I think we should handle these. And obviously, this is gonna be, we're barely gonna get started on our new budget cycle, so you'll have a dollar amount to work with as well, and that'll give you a real clear idea as to how much you wanna be giving away, you know, that'll stretch throughout the whole year for you.
Okay. Okay.
Start looking into approving something.
Okay.
We can already have it in the beginning of our fiscal year, like you said. So
If I may, the statute provides for type of, and I think that's what Mr. Contreras was alluding to earlier, provides for what type of sponsorships or activities we can use our monies for. And so I think in conversation with Mr. Villarreal, I would start there and just making sure that the board members understand. That way, when we bring these requests, then we can be guided by the statute, and then we kind of take it from there. And then, yeah, like a simple application, I think would be good also. You know, just simple application that would cover what's on the statute. I think would be helpful.
President, let me just confirm, Mr. Zambrano, that's exactly what I was referring to. The previous attorney kept advising us to be careful because I believe there was a 10% of our actual revenue that could be used a certain way, promoting, and at the same time, a lot of it had to do in how the item was worded in the budget. And I just want us to continue that, make sure that we don't go off track and you know, just follow what policy and procedure is in reference to the EDC. Thank you, Mr. Zambrano.
Statute as our guiding force for the next time we discuss this.
What I can do is have have an application that I can present at the next meeting, as well as those figures, the 10%, as you mentioned, and the statute. And as I can even provide a comparable to other cities who have the same revenue and what their donations are. That might be of help. And so I can have that for you the next meeting.
Very good. So at this time, there's no action required on that item. The next item is adjournment. Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is now adjourned.